This episode brought to you by Audible. Audibletrial.com/horrorvirgin for 30 days free and a book to get you started. For your book recommendation, Mikey?
Hi.
Is it? Oh, okay, nice. Okay. I honestly didn't know.
I'm going to recommend Horror Store by Jen recommended this book a couple episodes ago, or the last episode. You know, whatever.
My Best Friend's Exorcism.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sexorcism,
by
yeah.
Grady Hendrix.
No.
And I liked this book. It was silly and fun and a little scary. It's about a haunted IKEA-esque store. This episode also brought to you by Nick B.
NickB.com. That's what you say, Mikey. That's what you sound like. I
sound like a
Since
man.
we're all doing impressions of each other, this actually sort of goes along with the theme of the
It
movie.
really does.
Nick B, thank you so much for being our first Burn It Down Patreon
Yes.
subscriber. And Nick B wants you to check out
Yes.
godcountryfilm.com
.com.
because they're trying to get that movie funded over at Modern Horrors.
Yes. Check
So
them out.
check it out. If you guys have any money to throw their way, throw it their way.
Yeah. And thank you so much, Nick B.
Thank you
You're
so much.
awesome.
This episode also brought to you by Carl.
What's that?
You
Oh, is
sound
that
like
The
you're in
Walking
Street
Dead?
Fighter. That was amazing. Are you Richie? You've been working on your Street Fighter skills all summer? Carl. Guys, check out Carl's Twitch stream. Twitch.tv/CarlosMOL. Thank you guys so much for being Burn It Down Patreon subscribers. If you want to be a Burn It Down Patreon subscriber, go to patreon.com/horrorvirgin. I'm going to go ahead and bring in that theme music. We're always in show mode. You don't see me over here texting my girlfriend, even though she scared the shit out of me when we dropped her off at her car.
What'd she do?
She tapped at my window.
Oh, welcome to the Horror Virgin, everyone. This
Listen,
is exactly why we call Todd the Horror Virgin.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Jen.
I'm Mikey.
I'm Chris.
Yeah, Chris.
Yeah, we got a guest
Special
today.
guest Chris
Yay,
today.
hey, Chris.
Hello.
So glad you're joining us.
Chris is my friend, not your friends.
Chris is my friend now, too.
We're not friends, Michael.
Ooh. Ha, nice.
And I am your horror virgin, Todd. And today we saw.
We saw
Us.
Us. Oh, and it was so good. I loved it.
So let's do first thoughts. What'd you think about it, Jen?
I'm still thinking through it. I feel like I will.
Yeah, it's a lot to process, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's.
It's got to be tough to use your brain to think about
Oh my
things.
God.
God, you're such a
This is
jerk.
going to be Todd as a dick episode.
Well, no, I mean, I will say it's a good
Was there like
dichotomy.
47 of those?
That's true.
I will say it's a good dichotomy because you overthink things and I way underthink
Oh,
things.
I've got some.
And Mikey's probably just thinking about it.
Yeah.
I think it's a
Yeah.
good mix.
Chris, did you like it?
Yes, I think I did like it. It was kind of confusing at first.
Yeah. It wasn't what I expected either
not
at
at
all.
I
Yeah.
really like that it wasn't what I was expecting.
I kind of did too. Here's the thing. Here's the problem with the new release episodes. We record, and then the next day, I've been thinking about it, and I think all these things, and I start projecting all my stuff onto it. But we've already recorded the episode.
Time to write a blog.
I know. I was just going to say, stay tuned
Guys,
for
make sure you go to horrorvirgin.com.
because that
check out the blog.
happened with the new Halloween, and I've written like 3 blogs about that thing.
I hated this
I was
movie.
not talking about that.
No, I really did dislike this movie. Like as a movie, I disliked it. It was sort of scary. I actually
Yeah.
wasn't that scared.
It wasn't nearly as scary
No,
as I thought
it was not
gonna
as
be.
bad as I thought it was going to be, and I just thought it was a bad movie. If you haven't seen the movie, don't just listen to the episode. That would be my
Not
suggestion.
at all. You need to see the movie.
I mean, catch it on Shudder in 3 weeks when it's on Shudder.
Wow. My first impression here, I really liked it. I thought I liked it better than Get Out. I thought it was more ambitious, and I think it was original, and it was
Yeah.
kind of a homage to like 80s horror. We can go into
Did you
all
mean
that.
to say the word homage?
Homage,
I've only ever read that word.
but I know it's not pronounced homage.
homage. It's really late. I've been kind of chewing on it in the drive over here, and I've like a lot of good thoughts about it.
Can we just talk about this fucking movie, Jen?
Let's do it.
So we start with text on the screen talking about tunnels and how there are just tons of tunnels throughout America, and we don't even really know what they're for, and they're kind of just forgotten little rabbit
Oh,
holes.
did you think that was dumb though? Because they were like unused subway tunnels, mine shafts.
Yeah.
We don't even know what they were for. They were subway tunnels and mine shafts. You
No,
just told us what they were for.
the
The
other
last sentence
ones,
says we don't know what they are used for now.
Yes.
it says they're unused. We know that they are unused.
Or
it said-
are they? Because who's down there? Us.
No, it's not us.
The us's are down
it's
there.
Peter Pan shadows down there.
It's them.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it, guys. It's real dumb.
Todd read a Peter Pan Explains It All article on the way over here. He's got some
Yeah, it's
thoughts.
the Disney version. It's fine. I liked it better when Peter Pan was able to attach his shadow with soap. How did that happen?
Dude, I don't
have
like
notes
Peter
for
Pan.
Hang on.
Yeah, Peter Pan is weird.
You're like real into Peter Pan.
I
And it
mean,
makes
It's because
sense.
he never
The normal
wants
amount.
to grow up.
Peter Pan's the normal amount.
So then we see old timey TV and we see the Hands Across America
Wait, let's
commercial.
go back. Old timey TV is like just not a flat screen. It's just a
Yeah, it's
regular
from
TV.
1986.
So I like this scene because you have the commercial for Hands Across America, which is foreshadowing for the future, and then you have, if you looked at the movies in his shelf,
You saw Chud.
yeah, you saw Chud, you saw a couple other movies that I'm fans of, and it kind of this movie kind of takes pieces from those movies, and I like that.
So now we see the little girl at the carnival, and it's Adelaide, I think is her name, but I might call her Lupita. I couldn't remember what her name was till I was reading these articles on the way home because I just kept seeing Lupita Nyong'o, and I really like her a lot. But yeah, so
she was amazing in this movie. As much as I hated
she
this
was.
movie,
She
amazing.
was. She was on point.
Yeah, honestly, just the way she was talking as Red, I think is what they billed her in the credits,
Yeah.
was super eerie.
I think she was talking inward, so you gotta, hello, Todd.
I need you to stop immediately. Yeah.
So, well, we were at the carnival and she's hanging out with her dad and her mom who clearly are not getting along. And it's her birthday. And she
It was her birthday?
Yeah. She said, I
missed
wanted
She had the caramel apple, and they're like, for your birthday, we're gonna do all this.
Yeah.
That
I
was
wanted
the whole reason why they were at the carnival.
I thought they were just
Exactly.
like taking her kid to a carnival. I mean,
Well,
it seems
no,
like that
'cause they-
carnival's there all the time.
Yeah, it does. It just sits there. Yeah. It's like the boardwalk kind of
You
thing.
were too busy singing "I Got 5" on it.
Oh, that's true. He did sing that on a continuous loop through the
Yes,
movie.
she
I
did.
think to mask his terror.
Yeah.
So one thing I noticed about the parents is you never get a clear shot at either of their faces.
No.
Did John notice that?
No, not at all.
I did notice that. And it took me a while to be like, is the movie set in the 80s? And like, this is the movie? And like, or was this a flashback?
I didn't think it was set in the 80s just because the cars from the trailer that I watched.
Yeah.
I was like, it's recent, it's current day. But yeah.
Yeah.
The
But there's
beginning
a
of it's like
flashback.
86 straight
Right.
up.
It took me a second to be like, oh.
Yeah.
So it's baby Lupita. And so she and her parents are arguing, and then they go to whack-a-mole, and the mom has to go to the bathroom, and dad wants to play whack-a-mole because he's like a 12-year-old dad or something. And mom's like, okay, don't go away. So what does she do seconds later? Just
She walks away.
Wander
Walks away.
off. Yeah.
But I'll say this: she's a kid. Like it's
That's
not her
true.
responsibility to make sure she's taken care of. It is her
Absolutely.
mom's responsibility to not have to go to the bathroom.
that dad
ever.
had one job, and
I
it was
know.
not whacking moles.
I'm clearly
Watching
joking.
your child.
Yeah, I'm clearly
I don't know,
joking.
I
It was
kind of wanted her to get smacked around a little bit because she did not do what her mother asked her to do.
Exactly.
So really, she kind of deserved what happened.
and
to
this is
her.
the 80s.
Would you say she was asking for?
Yeah, she was definitely.
This is the
asking for
80s
it.
when my mom spanked me in public in the 80s. Like that junk happened.
Yo, I got
Yeah.
lost in the 80s at a Walmart. Looking
Are you
for,
the real Mikey?
I don't know.
She's
Spoiler
always been
alert, Jen.
Oh, sorry.
He's always been a problem child.
Has it? Yeah, true.
I was looking for Egon, the Ghostbuster figure, who's the only one I
I
didn't
know
have.
who Egon
Oh,
is.
yeah, okay,
Not a
gotcha.
monster.
So she's wandering around and she sees a man holding a cardboard sign that says Jeremiah 11:11.
Oh, I want to look that up.
Our listener friend Kate, who came out to hang out with us,
Yeah,
for
she
our
was there.
first- Yeah, she looked it up for us.
She set up the whole thing for the Facebook group.
She did. Yeah, it was awesome. Thank you, Kate.
Jen, before you read the Bible verse, are we talking New International Version, New Living Translation, English Standard?
Hey, everybody. Todd went to seminary.
Are we
just in
talking
case you
King James
forgot.
Bible, Christian Standard,
No. When
Contemporary,
you're talking
good?
horror movies, you're always going King James, okay?
Gotta go King James.
Yeah,
If it was written after the 15th century, I'm out. That's all I'm saying.
I've got the NIV here. Therefore, this is what the Lord says: I will bring on them a disaster they cannot escape. Although they cry out to me, I will not listen to them. Interesting. All right, so then she wanders down to the beach, and at this point, I'm thinking she clearly knows she's not supposed to be going this far away from her dad. Yes, maybe she sees something cool, she wanders off, but
What did she see? I don't think she saw anything cool.
I don't know, just
Okay,
the
she
beach.
she saw the beach, and then here's what I like about this
Beaches are
scene,
cool.
because it kind of flips it up on usually horror movie scenes when somebody wanders off, it's like dark and scary, and you're like, why the hell would anybody wander off? This beach was full of people with fires. People
Yeah, it was like
dancing around.
Daniel LaRusso and the kids having a ball down
It
there.
was, yeah.
It
Some
did not
skeleton
seem-
bullies
But
ran across.
it was still a little dark.
It was a little
Someone
creepy.
of her age, why would she walk down those stairs onto a beach where she knew no one?
Yeah, she got to be like 6 or 7,
Yes.
I would say.
And I'm going to say once again, I wanted her to get slapped around a little bit because it was so stupid for her to do that.
That's not me saying that.
She definitely gets slapped around. It's like 20 years later.
I mean, yeah, and she suffers. So anyways, but so she goes down to the beach and then she sees the creepiest hall of mirrors ever. And
Yeah,
so
what was it called? It was like Merlin's Forest.
Mirror Forest.
Well, the storm rolled in and started raining, so she ran for shelter.
No, she didn't. It didn't start raining until she walked in.
Looking
Yeah.
around and she didn't go inside until it started pouring down rain.
Yeah,
These are details that need to be seen.
no, she went in because she was mischievous.
Yes.
Yeah,
and then it started raining.
Exactly. So she goes into this mirror room.
And it was called Shaman's Quest, and it had a little arrow that said, "Find yourself."
This is the biggest jump scare for me, and I'm embarrassed to admit what it was.
The owl.
It was the owl because I get so psyched out in these things, and I'm just expecting exactly. That was a dramatic reenactment of what happened. But I get so like psyched up for this, and I was holding Natalie's hand, and I like jerked so hard, and she just went.
Owls are your
Terrifying.
friend.
But remember that owl is going to come back in later.
Owls can be really mean too. So, they can.
Do you hang out with owls?
No, because they're jerks.
The predators.
I get that, but you're not like sitting at the lunch table like, stop trying to make fetch happen, owl.
Stop trying to make hoot happen.
Oh my God.
I don't give a hoot about this conversation.
Nailed it.
Yeah, so she's in the Hall of Mirrors, and the most terrifying thing that can happen in a Hall of Mirrors happens, and the power goes out, and she's stuck, and she's wandering around. So her natural reaction is to start whistling the Itsy Bitsy Spider.
Is that what that was?
Yeah.
I couldn't quite tell. Like
But it
I
was
thought it was like
creepy.
close to Itsy Bitsy Spider, but I couldn't tell.
Because it was really slow and drawn out, and you can't quite put your finger on the melody just
Yeah.
yet. But so then she sees the exit sign. But so she just kind of slow whistle walks up to the mirror and then bonks her face because it's not a real exit sign. It's a mirror exit sign. And then she turns around and we see from behind a girl that looks exactly like baby Lupita Nyong'o. And she backs up and then she slowly turns around and she sees her own pigtails. And then baby Lupita Nyong'o slowly. No, I don't think she turns around
doesn't
at
turn
that
around.
point.
She does. I think she does start. I think the reflection starts to turn around, and then it cuts to future mom.
Yeah, future
Now mom at this point. Yeah.
Present day, yeah, and they're all asleep in the car, and they've just gotten to their fabulous beach house that nobody seems really excited to be at.
As you are at family vacations.
I don't know. I always liked Family Vacation.
I did too.
I really loved this family together. I thought I liked all the actors that played all the parts. I thought it was a funny family.
So the dad was
he was the TSA agent from Get Out.
I read an interview with the father, and I really like his portrayal of a dad because he's talking about, he's got a big physique, and I kind of really connect with his character because he's talking about, he's like, I don't want to be like traditional masculinity. I want to, show people that there's many facets of masculinity and fatherhood and things like that.
Oh, I think
Yeah.
he did a good job.
Oh,
Yeah.
I do too. I thought it was
Especially
great.
of that. I didn't think about that, but you're right. He's not like this super macho dude. There are moments when he plays a little macho, and he's like, you can tell even in those moments that he's sort of just like playing it up.
Right.
He's
like,
not
then
really
it doesn't
that way.
come naturally to
Right.
him, or he doesn't feel comfortable.
Right,
with
I
it.
really connect with it because I'm big and I can act intimidating, but like, I'm a pretty sensitive guy.
So they're at the beach house, and the mom is she's acting kind of weird. She doesn't seem very excited to be there. She doesn't want to go to the beach. And here's what was confusing to me, because they kept talking about how they were there last summer. So was she not excited to go last summer either? Is she just always kind of like this?
I think she was excited to be there. It's when he brought up going to the Santa Cruz beach that she started saying, I don't really want to be there.
Yeah.
I mean, she even gives him the book off at one point when he finally talks her into it. He's trying to give her a kiss, and she like hits his face with the book. I call that the book off.
She book blocks him?
Yeah.
Is it?
I've gotten that before.
So when they brought up PTSD, I immediately thought in my mind flashbacks. And so they started giving flashbacks of things that had happened to her.
Yeah. And maybe
so-
being in this environment is triggering her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like it is. And I got the impression that was her mom's house, and that her mom had recently died, within the year or so.
Well, and that was the same.
Is that what it was?
I think so.
That was the same television that they were watching at the
It was,
beginning.
right?
So
that was
the
her
same
childhood
house.
home?
Yeah.
I think so.
Because when she went down into the basement, they had that bar there and the mirrors, and that's where she used to practice
That
dancing.
makes way because I was
Yeah.
like, why would you buy a beach house at your trauma site?
Oh yeah, that would be dumb. No,
Yeah,
I
I
think
was
that's
like-
just where her mom lived.
Okay, that was, like,
and they
my
just
big
got
problem.
the house in the will or whatever and kept it as a beach house.
That was my big problem with the film. So
Yeah,
But I
that was
was-
your big problem with the film.
yes, I liked this movie. Does it cut to her therapy after she's
yeah,
lost?
that's right when it does, and it sees her kind of in the child psychiatrist office looking
Yes.
on, and they say, well, they think she's got PTSD.
She stopped talking.
For the reason
Yeah.
why she was not talking, correct?
All right, so she does not want to go to the beach.
But her husband talks her different it going. But the deal is we have to leave before sun goes down.
Yes.
Because that's when the trauma happened, right? So, yeah. This is when they go to Santa Cruz, right?
This is when we hear honking and we realize that the dad has bought the boat.
Oh, my. Oh, wait. What do we learn, though? Because the scene right before
we see a ballet flashback.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's because the son goes into the closet and puts like a little ambulance toy or whatever, and then gets locked in there because he plays a trick on his sister and she's getting him back.
Yeah.
So we realize that closet locks if you're inside it.
Yeah.
Way bad design.
Yeah, horrible design, right?
And then she goes down into her laundry room and finds this little stuffed white rabbit and just kind of looks and smiles. So we're like, she's got a history in this
Like
house.
she's reminiscing.
Yeah, and this seems like a happier place, maybe a happy place. I
Okay.
don't know.
That makes way more sense
Yeah.
knowing the end of the film now.
But this is where we see the first flashback
Yes.
to the ballet, right? And then she goes back upstairs, and that's when we hear him honking in the boat, and they go outside.
Yes, yeah, and this is funny.
What's the name of the boat?
Crawdaddy.
That's what it is.
Yes.
The other boat in this movie had a funny name. We'll talk about that too.
Yes, we will.
Again, I love the father of this film because he's like,
I do
I'm
too.
the crawdaddy. And he's the boat
Yeah.
circling the boat. And they're like, it's just basically a depiction of what I would be like as a dad with like two kids.
And then the boat dies, and we find out you've got to like beat on the motor to get it to start. And they're all just kind of shaking their heads and like,
Aw, Dad.
look at him. Yeah, it's a really sweet moment. So the next thing we see is them in the car
And this is the I got 5 on it scene.
where Lupita is snap shaming her son while horrendously off the beat herself.
Yeah, this is how I can tell Jordan Peele has never played an instrument. Because if you have any musical talent at all, that scene is fucking infuriating. Because she's not anywhere close to the beat.
But you guys, the song's not playing while they're filming. So they probably played the song over in post.
Yeah.
You got to fix that shit
You know
in
what
post.
you could do? You could shift it back literally like a second and a half, and she would have been right on time.
This
Yeah.
is just CGI'd that.
No, you just
Then
take
that's all your budget.
you just take this sound and move the soundtrack like a second and a half later.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But so what did you
Whoever
say?
edited this did a horrible job.
Call Todd if you need help next time.
Yeah.
This scene does show that the older sister is really protective of the younger brother.
Yes.
And more so than a normal like older sister, younger brother relationship. I feel like because they don't really pick on each other that much
Yeah.
compared to most siblings.
They do a little bit, but it's more like teasing. Like
Yeah.
it's more him playing tricks on her, actually.
she's
Yeah,
really
you're right.
nice to him, more
Yeah.
so than I thought.
He's a little off.
Yeah, he always wears a 1986 Chewbacca mask.
Is
Like
this Chewbacca Max?
Yep.
It's like he has autism.
I could see that a little bit. I kept thinking he's just kind of quirky, but I think
I mean, he
you
might be
could
on the
read it
spectrum
that
somewhere.
way too.
If he is, it's high functioning, but
Oh, yes.
yeah, for sure.
Not that
I mean,
there's-
I'm pretty sure I'm on this spectrum.
Oh,
Get it
dude,
because
yeah,
the sister
I think
just
so,
said- Okay, I didn't get that because the sister said later on at the beach he just has a hard time focusing, and as a child of ADHD.
Wait, your mom was ADHD?
Yes,
Yeah, he's the first son of
I'm the
ADHD.
first son of ADHD. As a
ADHD
title.
Junior.
That's what my elementary school teachers would call me. He has a hard time focusing.
Yeah.
He runs off, plays with fire, and hides under the cabinets. We've been there.
He's burned half his face off, but
Just the lower half.
he's fine. He can still see. So they're in the car and they're all just kind of getting along and it's fun. It's another just nice moment with a family.
But when
And-
they get to Santa Cruz, the dad's like chanting Santa Cruz, Santa
Right.
Cruz. I think the daughter actually, like after like 3 chants, goes, "We get it, Dad," or something like that.
Yeah.
It's super cute. Like I really like the family.
Yeah,
like their
it's really
dynamic was
funny.
great.
And so then they pass the dead man on a beach.
Was he dead? I didn't get the feeling he was.
It was the
dead.
homeless guy. He had been stabbed by
Yeah,
his double.
Jeremiah.
Who
Jeremiah
held up the
man.
Jeremiah 11:11 sign because at the end his double's wearing his coat and has his scissors bloody in his hand.
No, you're right. And I'm not saying he's not dead, but you would put them in a body bag. That's all I'm saying. But that's the reason I didn't think he was dead.
When someone's dead, they typically cover the body.
Right? They cover him with
well,
a sheet or
it's
something.
healthcare in America. He was homeless. Body bags cost money.
Hot takes from Mike over here.
I think it's unclear if you actually look at the body if he's dead or not, but I think somebody in the car says he's dead, and that's why I was thinking that he's dead.
Yeah, but how would they know?
Yeah, I think they said, "Is he dead?"
I thought he said
They
that
could
too.
be.
Yeah, and they said, "Don't look, don't look."
Yeah, I remember that. But I mean, either
And it doesn't
way,
really
it doesn't necessarily matter that much.
It's
but
Jeremiah man because as we slowly we see his old faded Jeremiah 11:11 sign, so we know he's
Yeah,
the same guy from
It's the same dude.
1986.
And he actually is a bullfrog, so it makes sense.
Yes, and that's the.
Thank you, Mikey.
Oh, Jeremiah
I get it.
was a bull.
Ah. So then we have the friends at the beach, and she does not really seem to like these friends very much.
Honestly, I got the impression they were coworkers because the wives are not friends.
Right.
It seems like they've talked before, but don't know each other that well.
But it's kind of a competition thing between the families, even
There
with
is
the
a keeping
Yes.
up with the Joneses kind of
Yes,
thing.
it's
Absolutely.
definitely.
I could see that. Like if the husbands are spending all this time at work together and they see each other all the time and they're great friends,
Yeah.
but the wives never see each other.
That was sort of what I felt like it was.
Yeah.
At least that's what it seemed like. I don't think there's any dialogue that makes me feel that way other than that the guys were just chummier than the wives were.
Yeah.
And that's what makes sense to me. So I
And
might
that
be projecting on
she
that.
didn't
but
want to go or see them. I think she like rolled her eyes at some point.
She did.
Well, and at this point she says, it's just hard for me to sit and talk.
I get that though. Like if we're going
Oh,
to the
yeah, me
beach, there
too.
better be shit to do at the beach. There better be volleyball, soccer, or something. Because if you want me just to sit on a beach for hours,
That's why people
Kill
drink
My
at the beach.
perfect vacation.
That
Give me
sounds
2 books,
horrible.
a beach, a drink.
But you have to also think about what the women were talking about. One woman was talking about the plastic surgery that she had done.
It's very subtle.
Yes, and she was, it was more about her and the things that she has and the things that her family has accumulated.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like the dig. Like you just look how you looked last year.
Yeah.
I was like,
I wouldn't even
"Damn."
notice. Yeah. And then we see the frisbee and it goes like right onto the circle. So we've been seeing kind of some omens of just coincidences and things that seem just a little off. And Lupita's starting to notice these things, but nobody else really is. So Jason is the youngest kid and he's playing on the beach. And then he goes and tells the mom he's got to go to the bathroom. So he's wandering away, which just
He doesn't tell the mom. He tells the sister.
oh, that's right. He tells the sister he's got to go to the
And
bathroom.
the twins are like, why do you pee in the water?
Yeah, at the same time. And then jinx, double jinx,
Quadruple
triple jinx. Yeah.
They do a lot of somersaults. That's important. It comes back.
Cartwheels. Yeah.
Yeah, cartwheels.
Man, this is a bad movie.
I can do mean cartwheels. By the way,
I would love to see at a live show you do a cartwheel.
Chris has seen me do a cartwheel.
Regrettably.
Really?
Regrettably.
And he has a very provocative pair of Daisy Dukes.
I once was involved in a dodgeball league and I had to wear gold sequin Daisy Dukes and I rocked that shit.
At work, I split my jeans all the way up to my upper thigh.
On purpose, I imagine.
No, I was like bending over, like, and so I had my workout shorts. I put my workout shorts on and wore those the rest of the day. But my coworker was like, "I'm gonna make Daisy Dukes out of your pants." It says she made them, and I put them back on. Just wore those for the rest of the day, and it was hilarious.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I want to see pictures from this event.
It's on my Instagram.
You heard it, guys. M. Randolph 24. Go find him. Let's do this.
I hope you don't Photoshop anything in interesting ways.
He goes to the bathroom, he being the boy.
Yeah. And then he comes out and he sees Mr. Weird Jeremiah man facing backwards.
Do you think he was already ussed?
I think
at
so,
that
because
point?
if you think so, he's wearing a long
And his
coat.
hands are bloody?
yeah, his
Oh,
hands.
At the end, he's still standing in the same spot.
He's patient zero for Hands Across America.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Lupita's really upset because Jason's wandered away. And she's seeing all these omens and she's thinking something's coming. She's starting to pick up on all these
Yeah,
signs.
she has a True Detective moment where there's a flock of birds swirling around and all this other stuff.
Like flock of seagulls?
yeah, it was a flock of seagulls.
It was.
Okay, so now they're at home and they're all going to bed.
This is that night. This is the
Yes.
night coming back from the beach. Yeah. And this is where shit starts to pop off.
It does. And I like that we get right into it too. It doesn't drag
Right into it like
everything
30
out.
minutes into the movie.
Well, yeah, but some creepy shit. I mean, not 45
But
minutes.
from this
in the
point on,
movie.
it's the shit hits the fan over and over.
True.
It doesn't
but the,
stop,
The
yeah.
scariest point to this point is Mr. Owl.
That's right. You're afraid of Mr. Owl.
In fairness, I was. I do realize that's ridiculous, though.
I mean, it was jumpy.
Definitely made my neck turn. Thank you, Jen.
So they're at home and she's putting everybody to bed. And,
Are you lamenting that the man's not helping?
well, yeah, I am going to notice it because what's the man doing? Just sitting in bed, making himself real comfortable.
In his defense, he's
himself.
helped out all day and done a lot of stuff.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, he's
mean-
done enough. It's her job.
She
Also, those
is the
kids are
one.
like old enough to go to bed.
That's true. Yeah,
No,
but
and he was in the bed getting things ready for later.
he was. Yeah, he was getting ready to pay her for all that hard work.
Yes.
You've been doing.
He was about to give her some hard work.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think this is when we kind of see she's got a special bond with this son too. And she says, just stick with me, you'll be safe. And then she does the little thing where they lace their fingers together. It's real sweet.
They hold hands?
Yeah. And then she notices that the son has drawn a picture of this bloody hands man.
She's like, who's this? And he's like, nah, it's nobody. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
This also shows that she actually has a bond with the daughter too, because
Yeah.
she goes in the daughter's room. She's like, put the phone away. I know you stole the phone. Put the phone away. The phone.
It's almost like she's their mom.
Yes.
Yeah.
It just
or
establishes
is
again.
she? Well, I guess she actually is.
She's
Yeah, she is. When do you think those kids were born if she's not?
Every interaction with this family shows that they really do love each other and they have a good bond with each other. All right, so now she's talking to the dad who is just lounging around on the bed getting ready for
It's
some
bedtime. Let
fun
the man
vacation
relax,
time.
Jen.
No, it's just really funny.
We've all been there where your girl is staring out the window all PTSD'd and you're laying on the bed. You're like, hey,
But yeah, she's staring out the
You looking to
window.
smash?
hey's my move.
What did you say? Do you speak Spanish?
Yeah, that's my pickup line. ¿Cómo estás usted?
Hablo español, señorita. But he notices that his wife's upset and he sits up and he's like, are you going to actually tell me what's been going on?
I do feel like he's trying to be a good guy. Like I
He
don't-
is.
yeah.
No, I'm giving him a hard time.
This
yeah.
is an intimate moment. I think they capture it well.
is,
I think,
yeah.
I think he's a.
Yeah.
Again, I relate to this scene because
Me too.
I really related to this guy, and he's like, "Can we talk about this, please?" And like, tell me what's really going on. And she finally opens up about
Yeah.
her House of Mirrors experience.
She says she doesn't want to be there. And she says this weird stuff happened back then. And she tells her story from the House of Mirrors. And what she says is she saw this girl in the House of Mirrors and she feels like ever since then she's been still with her and they've still been connected. And she knows that she's coming for her. And she's saying, I feel really uncomfortable. I want to leave. I don't want to be here anymore.
I feel like she's been chasing me my whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that kind of connects to the PTSD thing we were talking about. Like, if you are really triggered by this one situation, she just wants to leave. But he doesn't react terribly to that. Like, I feel like he's kind of taking her seriously. And he's like,
No, again, I really like this guy because he's
Yeah.
like, that's a long time ago. But she's like, no, you don't believe. He's like, no, I do believe you. I really do believe
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
I support you. It was a really sweet, because usually in horror movies, the guy's like, I don't believe you. You're insane.
it is actually a trope that women say they feel uncomfortable in horror movies and men don't believe them or nobody else believes them. And then they all die. Listen to women.
I do also like that he does sort of make like a shitty joke, and he's like,
He
"Okay,
does.
that was probably not the best time."
Yeah, what
like,
is
'cause
it? I
I've
could
done
probably
that
take
so
you
many
out.
times.
Yeah.
Oh, that joke was hilarious. Well, if she
It was
looks
funny.
just like you, I could probably beat the shit out of you. So I'll take her.
So
And she's
you're
like,
safe. Yeah.
What?
Read the room.
And then he knocks her on the chin lightly.
Oh yeah,
It is. It's real sweet. But I get the sense that if she had kept pressing this, he would have taken them home. Like, he would have taken her that seriously, which made me really like him. But then the power goes out. Okay, the power has been going out in my house pretty recently.
if
like
it goes
every
out,
once
I'm
in a while.
leaving immediately.
We can't. There's a podcast in our driveway. One of them has a hat on.
I'm out. Where's the owl?
It's right
I'm like,
behind
evil
you.
Mikey seems so nice and everyone loves him.
That one doesn't have commitment issues.
Yeah. He seems so happy.
That one has 2 kids and a wife.
Yeah.
So then the power goes out, and then Jason, the son, comes up and says, "There's a family in our driveway." And this, we've seen this in the trailer too.
I jumped at that moment too because
yeah,
the
'cause
dad
he
sort of
popped
walks
out of
out and
nowhere.
he's just standing there, and that sort of scared the shit out of
And
me.
he's got the mask back on, which he tends to only wear when he feels unsafe.
Yeah.
So there's the family, and we see them standing in the driveway, and they've got these red jumpsuits, and we can't really see them very closely right now, but they look like a family, and they look like a familiar shape. And
Well, they're holding hands.
right,
Yeah, they're holding hands.
Yeah, that's how you. Oh, yeah, they are
Like
holding
across America,
hands.
yeah.
Yeah, like across the driveway.
He's like, it's probably just a neighbor family. I'm going to go talk to him.
Yeah, like their power might be out too. Like I sort of
Right.
understood that at first.
Hey, if your power ever goes out, you need to check to make sure that the houses around you have their power out also, because if you are the only house on your block without power, someone's trying to murder you. No, you
Well,
just
the street lights were still on too, and that's like the first. Yeah, you call the cops immediately if the street lights are still on.
which
Yeah.
they do. She's
Well,
like, give me
he
your
doesn't.
phone.
Oh,
He
she freaks
doesn't.
out.
She
Oh,
wants to.
immediately.
She knows exactly what's going on. Well, because this is like what she's been thinking is going to happen the
Yeah.
whole time. So, I mean, and he thinks, listen, I know you're on edge. I'm
Yeah.
sure it's just power's out. Let me go talk to the family and I'll come back.
It'll be fine.
And then she's like, give me your phone to
Yeah.
her daughter.
And she calls the police and she says they're going to be here in 14 minutes, I think.
It was like it wasn't an emergency for them.
Exactly.
Like,
and they don't
they
ever
were like,
show up.
yeah, we'll send a
Well,
car
I mean,
by.
this lake house is out in the middle of nowhere. 14 minutes is probably a decent response time.
But the cops never show up. for
well,
more
the
than-
cops have a lot going on.
Later on, we
That's
learned that
true.
there's an invasion from the sewers.
That's right. They probably all got stabbed.
Yeah, he goes outside on the drive. He's talking to the thing. He's like, guys, if you don't mind, you're freaking out my family. Can you get off my property?
Yeah, can I help
Jeepers,
you?
folks, if you wouldn't mind skadooting, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah.
standing in the driveway, and this whole time he's talking, they are just not moving at all. And so this is when he starts to feel a little weird. So he goes back in the house and he's like, okay, let's call the cops, which I loved too, because he immediately knows, well, not immediately, but he takes it seriously pretty much right away.
Yeah, I mean, he goes up there and they're not like asking for help, or they're not like, hey, is your power out too? Yeah, you call the cops immediately.
He's like, let's call 911. And then she's like,
Yeah, we already did. But I really like that they don't mess around. He takes the threat seriously almost immediately.
Yeah.
Because then he gets his baseball bat and he puts his shoes on and he goes back out. And I loved this part in the trailer when she's like, Zora, get your shoes on. Because she's thinking, she's like, we got to run. So he goes out and he says, y'all want to get crazy?
We can get crazy.
Nice.
and then they do.
Spot
they
on,
really get
Impre-
crazy. It's
Yeah,
not
and that's
good
when
for
shit
anybody.
They
gets
do. Yeah, because what she does her little hand thing and they just scatter. And this freaks me out. I feel like in the trailer there's a big like music cue there.
Do you think if he had said, if y'all want to get pizza, we can get pizza, would they have just gotten pizza? Do you think it's because he said, if you guys want to get crazy, we can get crazy?
And then they
got
decided
crazy?
maybe we should be crazy.
Oh my God.
Maybe they remembered they'd already had
I think
rabbit.
They could have had pizza, Mikey.
If anybody shows up on your driveway with croc-looking sandals and a red jumpsuit and
Yeah.
scissors, they getting crazy.
Yeah. Whether you want to or not.
Yeah, whether you got the good pizza or the Papa John's.
But it's DiGiorno.
I do not like DiGiorno. Side note. All right.
Wait,
so-
you don't like DiGiorno?
No.
Well,
It's
guess
is
they're
that
not
a
going to
hot
sponsor
take?
us now.
too crusty. Yes.
This episode brought to you by DiGiorno. When you could have delivery and you choose DiGiorno, you can go fuck yourself.
Exactly. What is wrong with you? Do you not know what pizza is? So they scatter.
Well, they don't just scatter. The dad, he starts
Oh, yeah.
immediately banging on the door. And
Yes.
then he comes back inside and he's banging and banging and banging. And the dad's freaked out.
But the kids go to the opposite sides of the house.
Evil dad stops beating on the door and knows that they have a fake rock key.
Oh, that's right. I thought he was going to pick the rock up and bust the window.
Me too,
I
because
do
there's a
too.
window right by the door, and you
Right.
just got to
So he goes-
unlock it. But
so the wife goes, "That's our key," and he's like, "No, what white people stuff is that?"
that was real funny. But he also says, when the dad comes back in, he even says they're going around the outside of the house. Is the back door locked? And that's when the daughter
daughter
runs
says,
to her
"My
bedroom.
window's open," yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So she runs back to her bedroom to close the window. And at that point, us daughter is climbing the tree
Is
next
on
to
the
the window.
roof. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's scrappy. And I just wrote too many windows because this house has way too many windows
Yes.
to
That's a
feel.
selling point to a lot of houses.
Yeah, listen, it's a very open floor
Natural
plan,
light
Jen.
is good.
Yeah.
A lot
I
of
love-
lovely natural light.
It's super easy for a family to murder you. In
It's
this
on
house.
the
Yeah.
shore,
They
Jen.
will always know where you are.
It's got a boat rack. What do they call those? Where you, a dock?
Boat dock.
A boat rack. Oh my
I don't know
God.
a boat, let alone enough boats to necessitate a
an
boat
entire
rack.
Yeah.
I think you're talking about motorboating, a rack, which is like totally different.
But I am on board for it, Mikey.
I'm out.
Jen, let
Call
me
me
explain
Cat.
to you what.
Oh, I know what it is. I'm shutting it down.
Let me show you on Mikey real quick.
Get on in here.
Gross. Just stay away from the
Gross.
pink eye.
All right, let's
Hoist
move
the
on.
anchor. I'm ready.
I apologize, Chris. All right. So she's whistling the Itsy Bitsy Spider song. Us
Yeah.
mom is. And we start to see the scissors at this point, too.
Yes.
And then evil dad has the door open, and then good dad, they're having a back and forth push.
Yeah.
And he grabs the bat out of his hand and nails him in the knee. And, he just
And then gets
crumples.
in. Yeah.
Which is another reason, because I have a bad knee. So me and this guy are like real on the same level.
Yeah.
it doesn't break his leg, but it does like twist his knee in a way that he is hobbling the
Let's
rest of
say
the
he
movie.
had an ACL surgery, he hits it right in the right spot, and it just goes out. We've all been there.
Yeah. Did an
you're
us
him.
version of you
Yeah.
Or
get your
you.
ACL?
Yeah.
So now they're in the house and the little son lights the fire. And so they're sitting down and the family's sitting and they're looking. And this is the first time we start to see their faces and we start to realize, if you haven't seen the trailer, they are the same actors playing. They look
Yeah.
exactly like the
I mean,
characters.
even the son says they're us.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
The hair's a little different. It's like a less glamorous version, like a dehumanized version of the family.
Oh, yeah, like me the next morning.
Like the dad doesn't.
Oh, wow.
Jeez. Like the dad doesn't have glasses. The daughter's hair is a little bit different. The mom's hair is very natural and
Oh, and
just
she
real
is
short.
so good at that glass-eyed, like super creepy look, man.
Dude, she is just amazing in this movie.
If
and
they gave Oscars to people who were in horror movies,
besides Kathy Bates and Jodie Foster.
But like, you don't think Hereditary got snubbed?
Absolutely, Hereditary.
Yeah,
got
that's what I'm
snubbed.
saying.
Yeah.
Like-
No, I know.
Like they just don't respect it like they used to.
They
I
don't.
guess.
Well,
but
and-
yeah, like she does an amazing job in this movie.
Oh, she was
I
fantastic.
did not like this movie.
Yeah.
but it was on all sides. It was well acted. But she was a standout success for me.
She really
and
was.
I just think her part was probably more meaty than everyone else's was, and that's why I'm calling her out specifically. But she was amazing.
So they're lighting the fire, and she starts talking, and she's got this creepy voice. Mikey, do it.
I'm your shadow. The inward speaking. This is where she explains. Have you seen the beginning of Peter Pan? It's the beginning of Peter Pan.
I'm
No,
gonna
she
need
sounds- she
you
sounds
to
like she
call
has like a-
Todd at like 2 a.m. and say that.
I need to do the grudge noise.
That's not the
it's a
grudge noise.
talk.
Welcome back to Grudge Talk.
I'm your grudge.
So she starts telling her story. Once upon a time, there was a girl, and she's saying in a super creepy voice, and she's telling the story about how she was the girl in the shadows, and she saw this girl come to her, and then she had to live the life of this girl, just like a shitty version of it.
Yeah, just the underworld version of it.
And what we kind of find out is these people, the tethered people, were like, they basically just had to live the life of the person on the surface, just with.
But why?
At this point, I still thought it was a supernatural movie and thought these were like their shadow selves
Yeah.
or like.
Oh,
the
did you
shitty-
think that because that's exactly what she says to her?
Yeah, she does. She
Yeah.
says it was like the
But I
shadow.
mean, like-
and that's
I mean,
what
I'm
I
just
was
saying, I don't
thinking.
blame you for feeling that way.
Like
Yeah.
paranormal, like this is all our negative energy. We're living
Sure.
this good life, and all the bad things that could have happened went on to these spirits or whatever we thought they were at the time.
Yeah.
And then they made a reference to God.
God brought us together.
Yes.
Yeah, because she goes through and she's like, "You've met a prince, but I had to marry this big lunk Abraham
I
who
know.
I didn't love." And then the kids came out all messed up.
And I had a monster.
Yes.
And they had to cut the girl open and take the son out. And I ended up with this kid. It was.
But why do they have to live the same life as the upstairs people?
Do you want me to go on this now? What I think the movie did imply this. I would need to hear the conversation again during the end where they do all the exposition.
Yeah.
Where they talk about how
The
like the
chalkboard?
tunnels were like clones or something. I think there was a government program to clone the population to like either replace people when they needed to or manipulate people. But what they found out is that these clones were they couldn't clone the soul. They were tethered together, and that was an unintended consequence. And so they were acting out the other people's lives. They were connected somehow.
But they were just going through the motions, kind of like a pantomime of it. Yeah.
But none of that's explained. Like that's just you
No, I
guessing
think
at what it was.
there's like 4 or 5 sentences that
they mentioned something about
Yeah.
a government thing.
yeah, they mentioned this, and it makes more sense like the evils of cloning, and then like the souls are connected or something like that, and they can't just replace people at will.
So every time someone's born, the government makes a clone of them and puts them in the tunnels.
I think at some point, but they said they ended the program. She said they ended the program. So I guess maybe in the 80s, but they had kids.
Yeah.
I think if you can let this kind of thing go, you can enjoy the movie better. I didn't
Right.
really care why. You know, I think the what he's trying to say with it is more important than the how this actually happened.
I didn't think it was as bad as I'm laying it on. I just didn't like it. I thought it was
Yeah.
real stupid. But I sort of think that about all movies. For me to like a scary movie, it has to be not that scary and a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
Because I know, because I go in mad that I'm having to watch it.
I think this is more suspenseful thriller than like horror.
We'll get into that when we talk scary scale, but it was not super scary.
Yeah.
But
no, I agree. I thought it was going to be a lot more scary than it was.
I thought it was original, and I thought it was epic scaled, and I really enjoyed it.
And so they're talking about the dad's like, you can have my wallet. You can, he says, you can have the boat. And the daughter says, nobody wants the boat, Dad.
That was pretty funny.
It's a funny little moment in that. Yeah.
But he clearly doesn't really understand what's going on. In fact, the only
Yeah.
person that really understands what's going on right now is the mom.
Yes, because she keeps saying, Gabe, stop, Gabe. And this was a real suspenseful scene because I wasn't quite sure at this point how violent everything was going to get, how much I was going to have to see, because I kept being afraid that I was going to have to watch the dad get beat to death with his baseball
Or
bat.
stabbed.
You know? Yeah, or these children die in front of their mom.
Evil mom is like, you need to chain yourself to the table.
You need to tether yourself to the
Tether
table.
yourself to the table, which comes in again at the end.
Well, and she asks them, who are you? And the mom says, we're Americans, which I think is significant.
Do you?
Yeah.
That was the first time in the movie I laughed out loud.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, I think that's part of the point that he's trying to make. Not quite sure I totally understand the point he's trying to make.
And that's why it's a bad movie.
No, I don't think it fits with what he was trying to say.
Me either.
I think it was a little out of character for.
Yeah.
For
I thought it was real laughable.
I've got a quote on it. So this is when Shadow Dad takes the glasses and starts like dragging the dad away and dragging him down to the boat. And everybody, the mom like dismisses each one of them to go take their doppelganger or their partner off into a different place.
Yeah, so the dads go down to the boat. The daughters go for a run.
Yeah, and
Go
she
for a
said-
jaunty run.
And she gives her a head start too, because I guess Shadow daughter is a good runner too.
But did you not notice that whatever the good person, however they move, the other evil person moved in the same way?
Yeah, they mimicked
So
it.
they didn't use that power to their advantage until that young boy did what he did, because they could have killed them a long time ago if they had just realized
Because
that.
they mirror a lot, because they've been mirroring their entire life, and the only one who hasn't is the Shadow Mom.
Yes.
Which for reasons that make
But
sense.
we
if
do
you've seen
find
that
out at
movie.
this point, because I think the son figures out that
He did.
that the evil version of himself mirrors himself when they go into the closet, because he's like doing those motions in the closet. He's
Yes.
like, oh, you're just mirroring what I'm doing.
Right.
And then eventually he locks him in the closet.
did.
Okay, so yeah, they go into the closet and he's propped it open with the ambulance. So the Shadow son has a match, whereas the real son has a Zippo.
It's just a it's just a lighter.
It's not
Just
a
a
Zippo,
lighter,
right?
isn't
Yeah.
it? Right?
It's not a lighter. It's just like a magic trick ring that can make sparks.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not an actual lighter.
No.
I don't know. That sound reminded me.
But it is the reason it sounds like that is because it's the top part of a Zippo. Like
Right,
that's how the trick. I think it's like to light things on fire. Like if you're like throwing out like oils and you just like light them on fire. I don't really
Yeah.
know what it was. They don't explain it.
And I love
They're
when the daughter's
illusions,
like,
Michael.
"Why don't you just tell us what's
A
supposed
trick
to
is something
happen?"
a whore does for money.
That's a quote from Arrested Development. Don't get mad at us, get mad at Job. So at one point, the daughter is like, why don't you just tell us what it's supposed to be? And maybe if he did, I would have known it wasn't a Zippo. This is when he's like mirroring and he's making him take off his mask and he sees that the bottom of his face is really burned.
The bottom of the evil version of the boy. Yeah.
Yeah, and he puts it back down and the match goes out and he scoots out the door and kicks it closed.
The good mom is tethered to the coffee table, and she actually has her head pressed against the coffee table because the bad mom's pushing her into the coffee table, right?
Yeah.
And then they hear the bad son like beating on the closet door, and then good mom goes, "That one's yours."
And I cracked
I thought
up
that
at
was
that
funny.
part.
Yeah,
I was like,
I thought that was really
that's
funny.
a mom talking to another
Yeah,
mom.
yeah, that was great.
I did
That was really
like
funny.
that.
But bad mom walks off and goes to open the closet.
Yep.
And good son has run off. And this is when good mom gets her weapon for the rest of the movie, that fire poker.
Right.
And then breaks the bottom thing that she had tethered herself to.
Yes,
On
yeah.
the coffee table.
Of the
And now
coffee table.
she's free with a weapon.
Well, and so throughout this is happening, we're seeing the daughter running down the road, and then we
Yeah.
see that the shadow daughter is already there because she's a shadow super
Also,
runner.
Shadow Daughter's form way better.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so they're like hiding around the car, and then we see she slowly looks up and she sees shadow daughter on top of the car.
Scenes like this because if I was on the other side of my doppelganger and a car was in between us and that person just ducked down so I can no longer see them through the windows, I would just run away from the car.
Exactly.
What are you doing?
You don't need to know
stupid
where
teenager?
she is. You know she's not right behind you. Run away.
But you do circle the car. It is kind of like the movies if they're like circling the car.
Oh,
to
that
get
I
you.
bought. I mean,
Yeah.
I did buy that, especially if you know they're faster than you. I'm not going to get an open foot race. What
It
are we
was
doing?
ridiculous. It was funny.
This is not funny because then a neighbor comes out and
Okay, and at this point, I thought that they could only kill their doppelganger.
I did too, yeah.
Because why else would Bad Mom dismiss them in their pairs, right?
We all, I mean, I think we're all on board here saying like they were either like ghosts or shadows or like.
Yeah.
I did not think anyone else was going to see them or be involved.
Me either.
I thought the movie was going to cut halfway, like the police arrived and they disappeared.
I thought this girl was just going to like start murdering everybody she came across because this is exactly what she does. The neighbor comes up and is like, "What the fuck are you doing on my car?" And she just jumps down and like scissor stabs him.
No, she stabs him in the nuts.
I didn't
But she
notice
like jumps down and gets low and then stabs up in a groinal type area. I mean, it's like out of focus as the other girl's running away, but it looked pretty graphic.
Yeah, we don't see very much of it because the girl, as soon as she sees the neighbor, the girl takes off.
Yeah.
Like, because she's smart.
I thought that part was hilarious. Get off my car.
Yeah.
The girl's like, "Boop, bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. That's my evil twin. Bye.
Good luck, white guy.
Okay, so then we start to see, and we're going a little bit out of order because a lot of this is cutting back and forth.
Yeah, I
in
mean,
the scene.
a lot of this happens in the movie time at the same time.
Right,
so, like,
right.
the dad is on the boat with Doppelganger Dad, and they're like fighting. I really did like the boat fight.
I did too.
Because, like, the engine stops, and he pulls himself out of the body bag, type thing that he's in. Good dad does, right? And bad dad is like beating on the engine to try and get it to start again.
Yeah.
And then they fight for a bit, and then good dad knocks bad dad into the water, and he's like, "Oh, thank God!" And then the engine starts, and he falls.
And he
into the
falls
water.
in the water, yeah. But the bad dad has been caught by
Yes.
the life preserver, so he gets yanked away with the boat. So he's like, okay, I just have to swim back to shore now.
That was definitely the scary. If I'm gonna fight my doppelganger, being in the water in the dark, scariest situation.
In a lake, too. You don't know what's down there.
Oh, and we hear the dad like calling out to
Yes.
something else, and we have no idea what that is.
yeah.
And we hear somebody answer, too.
Yes.
The rest of the shadow people communicate like Sasquatch. They're like,
Yeah.
and then like, and I'm like, okay.
That was the second time I laughed out loud in the movie.
And I thought they were learning to talk. But now that I've seen the whole thing, I'm thinking, okay, she's the only one that can actually talk. Like, I thought that she had just learned to talk before them.
When Good Mom and Bad Mom switched in 86 when they were kids, the reason she didn't talk when they found her is because she couldn't speak.
Right,
She
exactly.
didn't know how to speak. So neither did anyone else except for Good Mom, who switched, right? Who was then taken down into the underworld. She just hadn't spoken in so long that she spoke weird.
Right. So we leave the dad and he's in the water. So then the boat comes back and just stops because it's a shitty boat. And then dad is trying to climb on top of the boat. And then we see the shadow dad's
Bad
head
dad,
rise
yeah.
up, and grab his foot. And so they're kind of struggling and he's got his scissors and he's about to stab him in the face. And then I couldn't figure out what he
Yeah, so
did.
Bad Dad has Good Dad like in a headlock sort of thing, and he's trying to stab him with the scissors.
But he's leaned over the engine, holding
Yeah.
onto it, trying to stab
Yes.
him.
And so good dad headbutts the engine to get it to start, and it just engine eats up the shadow dad in the water, and it's gross.
You didn't really see anything.
No, you didn't,
It
but I
wasn't gross.
imagine
But
it.
it
And it's
sounded gross.
It did. The Foley work was spot on that one.
And then he's just got like bloody goo engine lakeness on him.
That's what makes you a man.
Now you're a man.
Son, you're
am
15.
Jermaine.
It's time to kill your doppelganger. Drink his blood.
And then he starts honking the horn, and the mom and the kids run out to the boat. And so they get on the boat and they get away, and they
Yeah,
see
but this is the only person who's dead at this point is Dad. Bad Dad.
Shadow Dad. Yeah.
Bad dad
Shadow
and,
dad.
and that random neighbor guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's fair. And there are probably a bunch of other people getting murdered at this point.
We don't know that
too.
yet.
Yeah,
this whole
but
movie, I'm like, okay,
none of this has been
evil
revealed yet.
family is here.
So the mom and the kids are on the boat, and then they get to the neighbor's house, and we see the neighbor is asleep.
They're
with
friends
this
from the
guy.
beach earlier.
Yeah, it's not the neighbor.
It's not. Yeah.
They live across the bay. But yeah, so they go to their friend's place across the bay. But while they're traveling there, we see their friends and they have some rich white person argument. And then they find their doppelgangers pop out and kill them. And can I just say this? Their doppelgangers are much more efficient with murder
Yes.
than the other doppelgangers are.
They
Yeah, they're-
take care of business.
When
Yeah.
you
Yes.
can't talk, you don't have to evil monologue the whole time.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. When
I
they
do
see him.
think Shadow White Dad, maybe my favorite character because he's like
did a great
Shadow Douchey Dad.
Yeah.
He's like, who?
Yeah. He's like a less subtle version of the douchebag dad. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, real life, that guy is a douche.
Right.
Yeah.
But his shadow was like trying to pretend to be a douche with his like kimono on, and I thought it was the best.
So the neighbors are getting murdered to good vibrations. And then we see Elizabeth Moss, who is also great in this movie.
Yeah, I can see that. I like her too. She's great in Mad Men.
So then Elizabeth Moss is crawling across the floor and she's like, Ophelia, call the police. And it starts playing Fuck the Police by
I like that.
NWA.
Ophelia, play Fuck the Police.
Yeah.
It's very funny. Anyway, so the White family has been murdered.
So this is when our hero family shows up and they're knocking on the door and they see
They see the dad.
They see-
but he's all bloody.
they
With
see
the
white
kimono.
asshole dad show up.
He does have a kimono on, Mike.
Yeah, he
Yes,
does. And so she knows pretty quick that something's up and this
Yeah,
is
'cause his
not
kimono's all
this is
bloody.
not the dad she's looking
he
for.
opens the door, he's like, and then
Yeah.
they just hit him in the head with the
Yeah, like smash
fire
him in the head with
poker.
the ice pick.
She
Or-
knows immediately.
Yeah, fire poker.
But is it Elizabeth Moss that grabs her and pulls her in?
Yeah, and
that
pulls
was
her in.
super creepy.
No, it seemed like everyone, all three of the girls.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah. And so then dad chases other dad down the steps.
very slowly because he's got a bad knee and the other guy's got a hole in his head.
So this is now the second shadow dad that's chased this other dad into the boat. And
But
then
a different boat, and this boat is called, do you know?
Biatch.
Biatches.
Oh yeah. But the word in the middle is yacht.
I did not see that, and that's
did not
amazing.
either.
Oh, did
I
you
thought
know
that was hilarious.
I
yeah.
did too.
So anyway, this is when the white women take good mom up to the master bedroom and handcuff both of her hands to the bed.
Creepy
Yeah.
twins were the creepiest doppelgangers.
They were
really were.
good as creepy people.
they were doing creepy cartwheels.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And so the kids show up and the kids are coming in and they're hearing this song. And I love how all of this is going on to fuck the police. And they grab, she grabs a golf club.
It's a putter.
Oh, pardon me. And so then kid pulls this like a statue, like a piece of art with like a big circle thing on top. So then they walk upstairs and they're seeing all these bodies on the floor and they see creepy cartwheel.
That was the third time I laughed out loud in this movie, by the way.
Sister just waxed the shit out of this girl with the golf club and just immediately, and then I can't remember which sister it is, but she just like goes to town on her, and I'm glad I didn't have to see it.
Well, those are two different ones.
Those are different
so
ones.
Yeah.
one pops out when they're still on the, I guess, the banister looking over the downstairs area, and she knocks her off and she falls over and lands on the coffee table, and you think she's dead.
Yeah.
And then as they walk further in, that's when she kills the one in the bathroom by just hitting her over and over and over and over with the golf club.
And then this is when we see Elizabeth Moss. She's looking, she takes the lipstick out and she's putting it on, and I imagine she's been pantomiming all of this stuff for her whole life.
Well, and she's pantomiming out the window while she sees her shadow husband about to fight Good Dad, right?
Yeah.
Because Good Dad runs into Biatch and then grabs the flare gun, and then Bad Dad or I guess Bad White Dad comes down in there and he shoots the flare gun at him, and it just like goes wildly out of the way.
Right.
And it does nothing. And then they actually have a fight. And this is when you see Elizabeth Moss like making those faces in the window as her bad husband is dying. You don't really know who's winning the fight because they don't show that fight really. But
And she's kind of cut it. She goes and she threatens to cut Lupita Nyong'o's face, and then she goes in the mirror and she cuts her own face
Yes.
right on the side. And I imagine that's kind of like a mimic of the plastic surgery that she had.
I didn't think about that, but that makes sense.
That
Yeah.
makes real sense.
So then the daughter comes up behind her, about to smack her with a golf club. And I wrote down almost golf club smash because she turns around and just like Chris Sarandon grabs that golf club without making the impact. And then crazy makeup mom is on top and is about to like stab the daughter with the scissors. And that's when little baby brother comes in and saves the day.
Yeah, he hits Elizabeth Moss with that statue looking thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is where we
Yes.
find out that it's happening all over at least the city.
Yeah, so they're all sitting around this table, and it kind of mimics the scene where they were sitting at the table earlier. They're like
Right.
coming back together as a family. They're like, "What the fuck's going on?" They've called 911. They said it's all busy, and we see them. They're watching TV and they're hearing about all these stories where everybody is coming out of the sewers. And I love that they pan out and they just see the dead daughter on the coffee table where they're all sitting around watching TV. I thought that was a funny little.
And the dad and mom kind of get in an argument because the dad wants to stay in this house. And they're like, this house is safe. And then the mom's like, why don't we ask the Hendersons, who are all murdered on the floor, if they were safe in this house? We're going to take the car. We're going to go south.
Yeah,
Gonna go to Mexico.
I think we forgot one dynamic as well when the mother stated that she was in charge.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I wrote
She
that
even
quote
said she's not in
down.
charge anymore.
She said, "You don't get to make decisions anymore." And I wrote that quote down word for word because I loved it.
Why was she so mad at him though?
I don't know. She just
Why can't
got,
they make decisions as a family?
Well, I mean, because
He
she's
believed her.
secretly a shadow person, and she knows what's up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did like that.
I just felt like every point he was trying to make, he failed at making the point. And when I say he, I mean Jordan Peele. I don't mean the dad. I mean,
disagree.
I feel like everything he was trying to say or state with this movie, it didn't land for me.
This is when we see I think we see them holding hands in the footage that we see on the news. So that's the first time we realize maybe there's a bigger plan.
Oh, yeah,
with this
that does
whole thing.
happen then. You're right.
Yeah. So then they decide that they're going to drive to Mexico and they're going to steal this family's car. And they're all sitting out in the car. And Corey kept saying, get in the car, because there's
Yeah.
people around. But they had to stand outside and argue about their kill count. And I loved this conversation. It was really funny because the daughter wants to drive. She doesn't have her license yet, but dad's knee's fucked up and mom's handcuffed. And plus she has the highest kill count of everyone. And then they start arguing about,
The daughter thinks she has the highest kill count, except for the dad. She thinks she's tied with the dad at 2. But when perhaps good mom went back into the house to get the car keys, she actually killed one of the daughters who was not yet dead.
right. Yeah.
So that's
yeah.
when she's like, no, you only got one. I had to kill the daughter again. It was a pretty funny scene.
It was. And so then they see off in the distance Shadow's sister who's been running around and is now coming to get them. And she's standing very far away.
Yeah, the good daughter's like, buckle up, and she starts to just floor it right at the evil sister.
But evil sister's ready for it and jumps on top of the car and just hangs out and then starts scissor stabbing the car. And so then she stops short and like is holding on by the scissors. And so eventually she ends up on top of the car and she stops real short and she kind of throws the daughter. And she said, "Is
When
she
you say
dead?"
she stops real short, you mean the daughter
the
who's
driving daughter stops real short and throws shadow daughter. And did you guys hear this in the theater? She was like, "Is she dead?" And like you could hear at least 4 or 5 people say, "No, she's not dead."
I said no, she's not dead.
Yeah.
And then when the mom got out of the car, I was like, get back in the car.
I know.
Who cares if she's dead? Drive away.
And so she sees her daughter dead in the tree and she kind of just watches her die, we think, although we see the daughter later on.
Do we?
I thought it was the daughter, but maybe it was the shadow mom.
It was the
that
shadow
steals
mom.
the son. Okay, I thought it was the daughter.
No.
No, it's the mom.
All right, so they're driving away to Mexico, I guess, although they end up just going to the beach.
Yeah, when they get back to the Santa Cruz beach, they see their car on fire, and then they hear a sound, and then they see the bad son stand up and sort of step back a little bit. And this is when the mom gets out of the car and she goes like with her weapon towards the son, but doesn't kill her right away.
No, she's trying to talk to him, and he's flicking his
Just
hands.
Holding her
snapping,
hands
yeah.
out.
And
Yeah.
Good Son's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
This is a trap. Everybody out of the car.
So they get out of the truck, and then she sees the gasoline stream going down to the car.
Yeah, what we had heard is him cutting the fuel line, I guess. Must have
Oh,
been.
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and then Kid was doing his snaps and noticed the kid snapping and risen with him. So he gets out of the car and starts backing up to make evil version of him back up into the fire.
Yeah, I thought that was the coolest kill in the whole thing because
Yeah.
he sort of made him kill himself.
Yeah, he did. But it backfired.
Oh,
shit. Because he ends up backing up so far that Shadow Mom grabs him.
Yeah.
Not Shadow Sister. Some of you may have thought it was Shadow Sister.
No one did.
It's actually Shadow
Jen,
Mom.
that was only you that thought that?
Jen's fun facts.
I thought Shadow Sister was dead when I saw her foot dangling behind her head.
When she looked like the chick from Trick or Treat at the very beginning.
I love Trick or Treat.
So yeah, this is when good mom sees that the son has been taken,
Yeah.
and she starts to run off down the road towards bad evil mom, who is, I guess, running into the underworld. We don't see her again until she's revealed later in the underworld.
Yeah, and so now Lupita goes down to the beach and she goes into the House of Mirrors, which apparently anybody can just walk into all the time.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And she-
Everyone has access to this place.
Yes, and she rights the biggest wrong of the movie by punching the fuck out of that owl.
Yes, fuck that owl. It scared me.
I like that owl.
Damn you, Artemis. Thank you.
Clash of the Titans, remember?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Then so the dad and the sister are walking down the beach and they hide in an ambulance, and we see the Hands Across America are all over the beach and all through the town in a giant line.
We also see that when the mom goes towards the House of Mirrors again.
Yes, yeah. And we're starting to see the scope of this too because people keep seeing it in different
And
places.
again, Dad's just a great dad because he's like, let's hide in the ambulance. We can be
Yeah.
safe here. There's probably bandages.
Yeah.
And then
It's a smart thing to do.
daughter is worried, but he's like, your mother knows what to do. She can handle herself, and we're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
And so we see a white rabbit hopping through this House of Mirrors. And this is really cool because she's going down all these different layers. And it doesn't look like a mystical rabbit tunnel at all. It just looks like the emergency and then the maintenance tunnel and then this long escalator
When
down.
she went down the escalator, that threw me.
I know. I was like, what?
So
What?
Todd's like, yes, it did throw me.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like the 5th time I laughed out loud. I was like, oh, the only thing stopping the negative version of people from coming up is an escalator?
Yes.
maybe they just couldn't figure out how to.
It was a real
Well, if
dumb
it's an
movie.
escalator that only goes down, what do you do?
Then how did she get up at the very beginning?
She's special.
She ran.
She did. Yeah.
No one else thought to run,
Well, they can't talk, so
so they can't think.
and they have to do what their doppelganger person is doing. And if their
They
doppelganger
do
is
only
not
do what their
going,
doppelganger person is doing.
but they
No.
don't have to because she doesn't have to.
but she's not a doppelganger.
no, she is.
Is.
She was born of the shadow.
She was.
This
Okay,
is
but
another reason I think the movie's real stupid.
I don't think it's stupid. I just think this is a part that I can let go of to see the bigger picture of the movie. It doesn't matter.
Right. So you're just okay with it not making any sense because you like certain points of it.
Do you think
Exactly.
that
That's
escalator,
fine.
Yeah.
Do you think that escalator ever went like out of order in like the 30 years?
Escalator has become stairs. We apologize for the
No,
convenience.
that's how they didn't get up. There's just like yellow tables like this escalator's out of order. And they're
miss
like,
you,
we're
Mitch.
trapped down here in Clone World.
Yeah. All right, so then she gets down to the bottom of this escalator and she sees this hallway with like these little it looks like kind of like a train. I don't know.
It looks like a psychiatric ward, and that's what
It
I thought it
kinda
was in
does.
the trailer.
Yeah, it sort of looked like that.
Like I totally had a whole different film built up from the trailer in my mind, and I'm glad it wasn't that
too.
film. Yeah,
Me
Yeah.
too.
And it's a hallway and we see classrooms with the little rabbit cages in it. And there's like desks and chalkboards and stuff. And,
And it's all real nice. Like, where's the?
It
you know,
is.
the clone janitor's real good.
he's
That's
been
definitely-
copying the janitor clones all
That's
day
definitely the
long.
Mikey doppelganger. He's like, we've got to keep this place real clean.
Yeah.
That's why I'm messy in real
Toilet
life because
paper.
my evil version, he's like real type A.
Man, the more I think about this movie, the more I dislike it.
Okay, so then we finally see in one of the classrooms we find Shadow Mom at the blackboard, and we see stick figures holding hands across the blackboard.
Yeah, written on the blackboard.
And-
But she's got scissors with construction paper.
and she's cutting paper dolls out that are attached at the hands.
4 paper dolls.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice
Red
pick.
paper.
And so then she starts telling the story.
This is the exposition.
Oh, this is the
zone.
exposition part. This is where I
Yeah.
did the whole thing.
And I didn't mind this so much because I loved the way they shot it, and it was a real close up on her face, but you see her in the background. But yeah, it was a lot of exposition.
Yeah, and this is where they should have explained why.
Government makes clones for the population to replace them, to manipulate them, but you can't clone a soul, so they're all tethered and weird together. That's
Okay.
what I got from that scene.
Yeah.
All right, so if all the tethers have to do what the people upstairs are doing, why didn't she?
Because
She wasn't.
because she was
the
born
original.
special.
Why was she? How was she born special? I remember her saying that.
God, she's clone Nia.
That's how I got
But
it.
she's the Kwisatz Haderach.
Yeah. I don't really
Dune?
care why she's what is that?
It's from Dune.
That's
Yeah.
some deep cuts. So I think it was coincidental that she came up through the House of Mirrors, which and then now this is giving a lot of leeway, so hear me out. But then when they finally saw each other, that's when the shadow snapped to being able to make her own decisions when they saw each other. And then that's when she choked her, knocked her out, dragged her back down, switched her t-shirt, and was like, I'm getting out of here.
But I also think I don't really care. I don't need to know how and why this all worked.
Oh, I like this part.
I'm going with it.
I really like this because
Right.
it sets the whole motion of all the events for the whole film.
And when she switched as a little girl, she was taught to do everything that humans do.
Yeah.
So she learned how to be a human, and
she
that's
learned
why
how to speak, and she learned everything that she was mirroring as a tethered soul.
Yeah, it cuts back to the therapist's office. Like, she was only gone 15 minutes. What could have happened? And then
Right.
you're like, oh, that's not her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then if you think about everything that we've been talking about, how she just seems a little bit off, that starts to be put into a little bit more context.
It's actually kind of hilarious because all the original girl is stuck down in Clone World with is like a Hands Across America t-shirt and handcuffs. And that's like pretty much her whole plan like 30 years later. Like, all right,
Yeah.
I'm going to
It really
handcuff
is.
people and we're going to make Hands
Yes.
Across America.
And that's
Yeah.
But
yes.
evil.
But we've actually revealed the twist at the end before it actually happens
We
in the
have,
movie.
because we don't know this yet.
Right. So they're about to have their fight scene where we think good mom, who's wearing white and it's all bloody, and then bad mom, who's wearing the red jumpsuit, they're about to have their fight where you realize that good mom, who's dressed in white, who's really bad mom, is a stormtrooper.
Right.
And she can't hit shit.
I loved this part. This is my favorite part of the whole movie.
This was like the
loved it.
7th time I laughed out loud.
Oh no, man! Because the music starts, I got 5 on it, but it's like the slow, creepy, and it's like they're because they keep showing like flashes of the ballet, and each of them like one doing ballet in the hallway and one doing ballet on stage,
Yeah.
and then they are dancing with each other as they're fighting, but it's like a dance fight.
I thought it was well cut. I think it.
Oh my God.
I think it stood for the fact that unlike their shadows, they both really enjoyed dance.
And that's how they connected.
She
And
said
she kept
that-
just like dancing out of the way.
she
Yeah,
kept- exactly, because she was the one who was the good dancer.
yeah.
The other one could not dance.
She gave it up at 14.
Exactly,
was the
that's what she
clone.
said. She peaked.
But it looked
She
like the
didn't-
mom did not give it. The
She
evil mom did not give it up.
No, because remember, evil mom was the one who actually could dance.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. Yeah. Because she's the one who had the soul to begin with.
Yes.
And she had more, she
Exactly.
was more possessive.
I like the
of-
fight. I like the fight because she dodges in some interesting ways and it's cut well. I didn't
loved
like
it.
the end of the fight because it didn't fit with the rest of the fight. That's the only part I didn't like.
Can I just say this real quick? I understand what you're saying, but we've seen good mom, who's actually a bad mom, kill a bunch of people.
Yes.
She's able to
True.
fight. And the other mom, who's actually good mom, is able to not get hit through the power of dance.
No.
What is this, Equilibrium? This is a really bad movie, guys.
Well, and I think there's also an element of you're fighting with yourself too. So she's anticipating these movements because they are
Evil
movements.
Mom's been consistently a better fighter than Good Mom.
Yeah, because Evil Mom was originally the author of the movements that Good Mom was mirroring all of her life. So she was always a step behind because she was just operating on what Good Mom, who was the better dancer, was able to do. She was the one who was originating the movements.
Yes.
This conversation is infuriating.
Well, here, well,
No,
get ready, Doug.
I think it ends terribly.
real twisted.
because she can't hit her at all, and then it impales her.
Yes.
Yeah, it is a
randomly.
very like you
Yeah.
think she's about to die and then she accidentally gets stabbed or something. She didn't realize what was
I did
happening.
not like that part. I feel like something
No.
else should have resolved that fight.
Well, something else did resolve the fight when she snaps her neck with her handcuffs.
But that's after she stabs her.
Yeah.
Evil Mom's whole plan is foiled by over expositioning and monologuing. It's like she has like all the supervillain tropes.
It's like a James Bond movie.
Like she's playing with
It's
it.
like Professor Glass, only the dancer.
What you fail to realize, good actual evil mother, is that I am a master at scissoring. Oh, wait, that came out wrong. That came out wrong, but you know what I'm saying.
I'm surprised she didn't like tie her to a table and be like, this laser will slowly go up and cut you in half.
Yeah. That scene did not make much sense when you think about
Oh,
it.
but I loved it. And because here's what I got out of this movie.
Oh, my God.
Is that the tethered person, the dark person, is the part of you that you're afraid that you are. And the light person, or not the light person, but the surface person is who you want to be, and the darker person is who you really are underneath. And I talking about the PTSD stuff, I've talked a little bit about this, but I have that. And I was watching her and I was just seeing her fighting with herself and trying to overcome this demon that's just always following her. And then when she finally does, and she has that scream, I cried a little
You
bit.
mean when the bad version of herself killed the good
But
version
you
of
don't
herself?
know it's the bad version yet. And
It's not. I think Good Mom's still Good Mom. I think any child, especially if they were 6 or 5, however you're saying, would want to escape evil clone world.
Right. We've been talking the whole time about how we see her connect with her kids and we see like this bond that the family has. And if this is Evil Mom the whole time, like Evil Mom in disguise the whole time, she's still, when she got to the surface, she took possession of the soul. So she still has a soul inside her. She just wasn't the original person who owned the soul.
I think the darker versions are, I don't want to say opposites of you, but the people you don't, I think the people you actively don't want to be. So like the dad is a very sensitive, large man, good father. His version, was just like Cro-Magnon man. Mom's version didn't care about her kids at all because she watched them die without reaction. And the dad, she's like, I don't care about any of these people.
Yeah.
And then so I think it's the versions of ourselves we actively don't want to be.
and what you're afraid of in your personality. I that's what I saw. But I could see other people having different interpretations. That's just the one that connected with me. And part of why I like this movie is something we talked a little bit about. He gives you just enough to see what makes sense to you without except we just said exposition dump, but I could just ignore that. And I was like, yeah, this is what this movie means to me. And it could mean something totally different to somebody else. And you laugh, but that we just watch movies differently,
Yeah, I watch movies for what the artist is trying to put on the screen, and
Right.
you watch them and project your own shit onto it.
Right, but that's how
fine.
I
Yeah.
work through stuff. She finds Jason in the locker.
Right.
And she's like trying to reconnect with him, and we see that he's not really connecting with her. And
He didn't know which one survived.
right, yeah, because they both look exactly the same. And she does that lacing fingers thing with him. And so then we see that they're all driving away in the ambulance, and the mom is driving, and everybody's kind of relaxing. And then we see the final flashback, where we see what actually happened
In 86.
in 86. And this is where we find out that Shadow, little baby Lupita Nyong'o, dragged her in and traded places with her. And the Lupita Nyong'o we have thought was the good mom the whole time was really Shadow Mom, like passing through the world. That's when you start to make sense of why things feel so awkward with her and why she doesn't like talking. And we've talked about that kind of throughout. But this is when we actually see it.
And I think all children should go see this movie. But when you walk away from your parents,
Yeah.
your ass will be tied up and swapped out.
Yeah, this is what's going to happen. Yeah, it's a cautionary tale. Yeah.
All children should see this movie.
As a parent, I'm on board for that.
But this is the end of the movie.
This is, well,
So-
it's almost the end of the movie because then she's looking at the son and we kind of get a sense that the son might not trust the mom anymore because he kind of thinks maybe she's the shadow mom
Yes.
still. And then
You've
we
also
pan out.
seen your mom kill like a shitload of people.
That's
so
true.
like
But
that
he
would
killed
scar
somebody,
you as
too.
well. I mean, yeah, but
Yeah.
that would still scar you.
But yes, I agree. And then we pan out and we see the Hands Across America
You
with
see
all the red
helicopters
people.
flying above them. And that's the movie.
And that's the movie. Todd, you got box office for us?
No. It just came out.
I think it's going to make a lot of money.
I think it's going to make
$12
a
million
lot
budget.
of money too.
I think it will make a lot of money, but I don't think it deserves to. I think it'll make a lot of money on the back of Get Out, to be honest with you. So Jen's fun facts.
Jen's fun facts. So we have been talking about whether this was a race movie or not. And I love that this could have been a functional movie with the main family being white and it was a choice
I think
to
we
make
said it wasn't. It didn't feel like it was a race movie to me.
It wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is he could have cast a white family, but he chose to cast a black family just because those are people that exist in the world too. And that this is notable because the main protagonist is a black woman and we don't see that very much. And we're empathizing with her and we're following her story. And she is the hero and she's the villain, the main villain in the story. And I love that we connect to both sides of those people. Because just like in this movie, nobody is all good and nobody is all bad. And everybody has depth to their character.
Just like real life.
Yeah.
Exactly. So the quote that I have from Jordan Peele about what this movie is he says, "This movie's not about race, but there are so many ways in which America is about race, and this movie is about America." So yes and no, it is about
That
race.
is such a BS response if I've ever
Yeah.
heard one.
A, no, it's not. B, make a better movie next time and
Oh
try and
no,
pass
I
that
liked
off.
it.
It was definitely not about America.
No. That's why when she said we're Americans, I laughed out loud. Like it was laughably funny.
Well, I got another quote.
I've never seen an artist aim and miss their mark so hard.
I will say, I could see his metaphor being like, if the darker versions are the parts of ourselves that we tend to ignore or minimize, or the parts we don't want to be, then the shadow versions are all of the things in America that are bad that most people pretend that we aren't, but that part of that exists and is tethered to us.
And the quote I have along those lines from Jordan Peele is, "In the broader stroke of things, this movie is about this country. And when I decided to write this movie, I was struck by the fact that we are in a time where we fear the other, whether it is the mysterious invader that we think is going to come kill us and take our jobs, or the faction that we don't live near that voted a different way than us. We're all about pointing the finger. And I wanted to suggest that maybe the monster we really need to look at has our face. Maybe the evil is us."
That's an interesting interpretation. It was also just I thought it was like a real original movie.
I did too.
And if I have to do another remake with just like a recasted main cast, it's not gonna be great. So
True.
I love the original movie. I think this is gonna be a big success.
Okay, so kind of along what we were saying, when Get Out was released, people were trying to say it wasn't a horror, it was a horror thriller, and that's kind of the thing where if a horror movie is good, people try to call it, what they're calling us now is elevated horror, which is a way to just shit on horror movies, which sucks. And he said he was really frustrated because Get Out was not, people weren't considering it a horror movie, they were calling it a thriller movie, so he wanted to go all in on horror with this one and make it for sure a horror movie, and people are still calling it elevated horror. So he tweeted the other day that says, "Us is a horror movie," just putting it out, which I loved because there's nothing wrong with horror, guys. Horror is awesome. Okay, it was inspired by a Twilight Zone episode called Mirror Image, and I don't know anything about that episode, but I do know that Jordan Peele is rebooting the Twilight Zone show right now.
Yeah, but it's on CBS All Access, so I'll never watch it.
When they were putting the cast together and they were starting to film, he asked the cast to watch certain movies. And now that I've seen it, I can look at this list of movies and I can see some different things. So these were the movies he wanted his cast to watch. So they would have like a common film language, and it was Dead Again, The Shining, The Babadook, It Follows, A Tale of Two Sisters, The Birds, Funny Games, Martyrs, Let the Right One In, and The Sixth Sense. We don't have time to talk about all that stuff. If you want to talk more about that, the Facebook group would be a great place to do that.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a lot to really start talking about what elements we see in each of those movies. We just don't have time to do it right now. I also wanted to plug two links because I am hardly an expert on Black cinema. And so I wanted to direct you to some people that know a lot about that. And the first book is called Horror Noir, and it's by Rob Robin R. Means Coleman, and it's about the evolution of Black people in horror movies. And there's a website that's fantastic called Graveyard Shift Sisters, and it goes a lot in depth. They've got a lot of articles about Black people in horror movies too, and they actually have a Get Out syllabus where there's just tons of articles about Get Out. And I imagine people are going to be writing a lot of stuff about Us too, because I think there's just a lot to dissect, and maybe not about race, but maybe there's some racial elements that we didn't see in this. And that's my fun fact. All right. Hey, scary scale time.
So, Jen, what is the scary scale?
Well, listeners, our scary scale is how we rate how scared we were when we watched this movie today. It is not a ranking of the quality of the movie. It is a ranking of how scared we were when we watched it today. Our 1 example is Ghostbusters, and our 10 example is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. All right, Todd, go for it.
I would say 2.
You're going to put 2?
Yeah, the owl was the scariest part for me.
Man, that fucking owl.
I know.
That was a scary owl.
And it's because I had built it up in my mind that it was going to be super scary. So, like, the first little thing scared me. Mm-hmm. The rest of it was laughable.
Yeah. Chris, where do you think you would put it?
I'm going to put it at a 4. There were some things that made me feel weary. And
Weary's a good word.
so I'm going to say 4.
4? I like it. Mikey, what you got?
I think I'm going to go 4 as well. That's what number I was picking on. I think atmospherically, Peele does a really great job. And I think the initial scenes in the house were very, very creepy and kind of stuck with me. A lot of that Funny Games influence. So I'm going to go with 4.
I think I'm going to give it a 5. And this is...
Wow, I'm the lowest.
I know.
That's crazy.
Well, I think partly because there were some personal things that I connected with in this movie, and that
makes
kind of it upped my uneasiness level and kind of made the scares a little more effective for me. But yeah, I liked the atmosphere of the whole thing, and I liked that we kept getting like little breaks in the tension too, with the funny family coming together. So we got a 4, a 4, a 5, and a 2. But I thought this was going to be so scary when the trailer came out. That's a scary trailer, and
I thought it was too.
We posted it because it came out on Christmas Day.
Really scary.
And I don't think the movie was as scary as
it
the
was
trailer.
not.
So now we're at final thoughts.
This is easy for me. I feel like this is the movie you get when you give someone who's only written one movie complete creative control over their next one and give them a lot of money.
I can
And it's
see
bad.
that.
It's a bad outcome for me.
I think he had complete creative control of Get Out too, though.
I don't know what Get Out was, and I'm only saying that that's what this feels like because it's not as good.
This movie made more than $20 million tonight. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah.
But Get Out made a shitload of money.
I think
too.
this movie's going to make more than that.
So do I.
Yeah.
I don't
think it
think his
probably
next movie will though.
I don't know. I'm still on board for him.
I think that he is developing his craft. He's getting better with each movie.
I don't know. I really enjoyed it. And I think this is the kind of movie that's going to grow over time. You know, lots of movies, they come out and everybody is excited about them and then they just diminish and you forget about it. And I don't think people are going to forget about this one. I think people are going to, for better or worse, going to be dissecting this movie for a long time.
I really liked it. I think you can just, it's self-apparent how much of a fan Peele is of genre films. And he takes a lot of stuff from other films and kind of uses it a little bit. It was a grand film and just scope, which I wasn't expecting. I was expecting a very intimate family story, and you still get that somewhat, but the whole world's affected in this. And I really liked it. I think people are going to talk about it. I think it's going to do better than Pet Sematary, and I think this year will probably be the biggest horror movie other than it.
And it was an original.
Yeah, it was
Yes,
really original.
very original.
I really liked it. I feel like it's more than just a general horror film than it is like Get Out, which is like it's a deep social commentary.
I think it's more elevated horror.
I really
Listeners can't see me flicking Todd off.
I
right
think
now.
the only reason it's elevated because I really think his deep stuff is more surface level, and I don't think he meant it to go that much deeper. I mean, he may have put it in elements in there, but I don't think it's like Get Out. I don't think he wanted it to be.
Well, he said in that interview that it was about America, and it's not. I can't believe you guys liked it.
I did. Yeah, I thought it was great.
It was laughable. All right. Well, let's
I
move
like
on.
The Purge. I thought it was better than The Purge.
I haven't seen The Purge. I don't know.
Oh, we'll watch The Purge. And down that road,
Yeah. So this week we watched Us. What are we watching next week, Jen?
well, our next episode is going to drop on the 1st of April, and we are going to be watching the 80s slasher April Fool's Day.
Oh my God. This is not an April Fool's joke, right, Jen?
This is not.
So
Yes,
this
we are
movie actually
actually going to be
exists?
watching this movie. Yes, April Fool's Day. It's the poster that's so cool, and her braid is a noose.
I have seen that.
Oh,
yeah.
I love that poster. Yeah.
That's real dangerous. You get that caught on something.
Yeah.
maybe that's the April Fool's Day prank.
So,
but yes,
guys,
we
watch-
are really going to do that movie on April Fool's Day. This
So
is
watch
not a joke.
April Fool's Day, guys.
Yeah.
Before April Fool's Day. All right, guys. We are a member of the Modern Horrors Podcast Network. You can listen to us in their feed, but if you want to listen to us 2 days earlier, subscribe to our feed. You get it on Monday instead of Wednesday. But they have a lot of other great shows like the Modern Horrors Flagship Podcast, Death, Dying, and Other Things, and The Final Girls. If you want to follow us on social, we are at Horror Virgin on all the socials. Mikey's at M.Randolph24, Jen is at Jen Ferrato, and I am at Todd J. Awesome. Yeah, check out our website at horrorvirgin.com for the blog, links to the merch store. If you want to join our Patreon, it's patreon.com/horrorvirgin. You guys know the drill. Oh, yeah, and we had our first meetup at this movie,
Yes.
and that was all coordinated by Kate in the Facebook group, who's
Thank
one
you,
of the
Kate.
moderators of the Facebook group. So
Yeah.
thank you, Kate, for setting that up. Thank you for all the people that came out. We'll probably do this again. It was
Yeah, if you weren't able to make it tonight, because it was kind of last minute
It
when we
was
figured
very
out we were
last
going to do
minute.
it.
Kinda is a strong word.
We're
Yeah.
gonna work on setting some of these things up, and you know what? We don't have to be there for you guys to have a meetup too. So if you want to meet up when we're not available, somebody's talked about getting together to watch the movies that we're about to drop on Monday, which I love that idea.
Oh, that'd be great. Well, cool. Check out the Facebook group for that.
We got some fun questions of the day, and just it's a really fun little community. And if you hate Facebook, just make a profile and just like this one thing in the group, and you don't have to see anything else. Because I
Absolutely.
hate Facebook, but the group is amazing.
Fuck you, Mark Zuckerberg. Guys, since it is the last episode of the month, we are going to shout out the monthly Patreon shout outs. And these are all the people at the You Can Get It level. So you guys can get a shout out.
Yeah, hey guys, thank you so much for your
Thank
support.
you guys so much.
You truly can get it. All right, and we got Melissa K.
Eddie S.
Oh,
And John P. You
Yeah,
can get
baby.
it as well.
All of y'all can get it. Thank you guys so much for your support. And really, all you guys, whether you can support us on Patreon or not, we really appreciate your support. So if you guys are just like telling friends, families, coworkers about the show, that helps a lot too.
it really does. Yes, thank you so much. We're working on our listener requests too, and that's another fun way you can participate.
I mean, and guys, we grew this, and when I say we, I mean all of us.
Yeah.
You guys, listeners too, grew it to a point where no one had heard of us when we started 8 months ago, and now we get thousands of downloads a week, which is insane. So
I
thank you guys so
know.
much for that. And a way that you guys can help spread the word that's not a monetary donation is by leaving ratings and reviews. So we're going to read you a 5-star review, and this one's going to be read by the Mikey.
Yes, I am not gifted at reading, but here we go.
And you only got one operational eye today, so
But I still have perspective on this review.
Nailed it.
Yes. Happy Sally says, it honestly makes me laugh when they say to go follow them. I usually listen to true crime podcasts. So when they asked to follow me on Instagram, I got worried it was some weird sex thing. But they're pretty funny. But they're pretty
forgot this one
funny.
was a-
And I can space out to them while I'm at work. I need more episodes. Kind of sad I'm all caught up. 5 stars.
Thank you very much, Happy Sally.
yes, thank you, Happy
For your
Sally.
review.
You have made us very happy as well.
Thank you very much.
All
But
right.
yeah, it's kind of a weird sex thing.
It's not. What?
No.
No.
Oh, sorry.
That's your other podcast, Mikey. That's the one you got pink eye from.
All right, is that gonna be it then?
That's going to be it from us, everybody. Thank you so much, Chris,
Yeah,
for
Chris,
coming
thank you so
and
much
hanging
for being
out
on the
with us.
podcast.
Thank you,
yeah, it was
thank you.
awesome. Yeah, I'm Jen.
I'm Mikey.
I'm Chris.
And I'm your horror virgin, Todd, guys. We will see you next week. Watch April Fool's Day.
Woohoo! Wah, ha, ha, ha,
Have
ha.
a great week.
Bye. Nerds.
Yay!